and thank you for joining us for another CRM Snacktime Snippet with XTIVIA. I am your host, Mike Aaron Hersterbommer, Senior Business Development Manager here at XTIVIA. Along with me, as always, Zach Bodine, Vice President of CRM here at XTIVIA. And for those of you out here coming to check what this topic is about, I do want to make you aware this might be a little bit more interesting for the techie folks out there, if you will. For those of you that have administrative experience around Salesforce, or those of you that are looking to learn more about the admin features of Salesforce, if you've been in the admin section of any Salesforce environment, you know it's big, there's a lot there, and there's also a whole ton that you can do with it. It's really kind of the main driver on how you make Salesforce your own, right? So what Zach wanted to bring to you today was just a couple new features and things to be aware of that are coming down the pipe when it comes to the admin aspects of Salesforce. They're always changing things. It's always ever evolving. But there's just 2 or 3 different things that we wanted to bring to you today to make sure that you are aware of, either that are already out there or will be coming soon. So Zach, I'll hand it to you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And so this isn't just for techie people. For techie people, I try to make this a discussion about these are the tools that are out there and how can you really make them beneficial for your organization. And then for the business side, I just kind of want to make you aware that these things are out there and how, they could basically help your business. So the first thing we're going to touch on, and if you have a Salesforce admin certification or a platform app builder certification, you're probably already familiar with this because you had to do your trailhead to retain your credentials, but dynamic forms are available. So what are dynamic forms? Customers have been asking for this forever, and finally it's been delivered, sort of. So you have an object, and today you'd have a page layout, and you have fields all over that layout. Let's take opportunities. I'm talking about opportunities, but unfortunately, dynamic forms not yet available for standard objects, only available for custom objects. It should be available in the future for standard objects, but not right now. But as a business, if I'm a sales leader, I want to know and understand dynamic forms, and then have my really good admin, developer, or consulting partner implement it for me. And here's why. So right now you have an opportunity, and we've seen this in a lot of organizations. They'll flood that opportunity with like 100 fields. And the sales rep goes to the opportunity and they're like, holy crap, how am I supposed to populate this thing? I just, or update it. Where do I go to do what? It's overwhelming. It's too much stuff to ask your salespeople to enter when they just want to get the opportunity in there, get the updates in, and move on to the next opportunity. Today, if you wanted to do that, to really only show, like, let's say I wanted to show 30 fields in the opportunity at one time, and then based upon what stage they're in, you could have a different record type, and then an automation rule that when that moves from stage A to stage B, switch it from record type A to record type B, which would then associate a new page layout to that record type, which would then show those fields. But even then, it's kind of like, I don't think it's the best solution to do that, and it feels like you shouldn't need record types to do that. So enter dynamic forms. So dynamic forms first allow you to better group your fields on your page layouts in certain sections, and make a position where, I really only want to have the person focus on this right now. And so that's a great feature. Another great feature of dynamic forms is, let's say there's a pick list field, and I enter in the pick list field, maybe the customer type is that this is a new account. So since this is a new account, when I select that new account dropdown, I might now present 3 new fields to display on the dynamic form, and I'm going to make those fields visible as you're editing it in the screen. Say, because it's a new account, I want to know some more information about this new account. However, if I'm creating that opportunity, and I say this is an existing account, I never even have to display those fields to you, a user, at all. So now the salesperson has 3 less fields that they need to see on the screen just because of how they populated a pick list field. So traditionally, businesses will put every opportunity field on an opportunity that they think they could need to meet whatever potential scenario could arise. And so that becomes very overwhelming for salespeople, and it leads to poor adoption by your salespeople because it's overwhelming to fill out an opportunity. And it creates bad data because people aren't then updating the system effectively. So now with these dynamic forms, you can literally present only the fields that need to be filled out by your salespeople. And based upon their responses to those fields, you can decide which additional fields to display within your opportunity, making it super simple for salespeople to understand what you as a business are requesting them to populate to effectively track their opportunity for themselves, as well as for the sales leaders to understand the data and process. So that's really the big win. Now, that's what's awesome about dynamic forms. What sucks about dynamic forms is we can't do this yet on opportunities because opportunities is a standard object and dynamic forms are presently only available on custom objects. So, so we'll see, how soon Salesforce wants to roll that out to standard objects. I'm sure there's some hurdles that they have to, reach for them to get to that point. Switching topics now, we'll talk about flows. So as I'm sure you've all been alerted to inside Salesforce, is that Salesforce is going to be decommissioning their support of workflow rules, and process builders. And therefore, they're wanting you to move all of your workflow rules and process builders into flows. The good news about that, there's good news and bad news. The good news is they're offering you conversion tools, and some of these I think are in beta mode. I don't think they're all available yet, but think about this before you start rebuilding these as custom flows. They're going to be giving you conversion tools that will allow you to convert all of your workflow rules to flows and all of your process builders to flows. You may want to do that. You may not want to do that. You may want to look at all of your workflow rules and rather have them be all built as new flows. You might want to move them all into like one flow. So in talking about flows and understanding it, you really don't want to have more than 2 flows per object record in Salesforce. You want to have an update flow that updates all of the fields on your existing object, and you want to have a flow that does a creation or update of your related objects. So, so if you have 8 workflow rules and opportunities and 2 process builders and opportunities, you don't want to have 10 flows on opportunities because that will slow down your system, bog it down, make it impossible to do updates because the order of that will have to be reviewed. You really want 2 flows and then have all those decision nodes within that flow, those branches being built within those flows. So you have to think about that and consider it when you're converting these and using these conversion tools to move them over into flows. One thing you can do within a process builder already before you do the conversion is if you have like 8 process builders on one object like opportunity, try to move all of those process builders, consolidate them into 1 or 2 process builders for opportunity with different nodes. So that makes it much more easy when you're converting to flows to have it all be in 1 flow or 2 flows versus 8 different flows. So those conversion tools should be coming down the pipeline and available to you. So make sure you do some research on them. Lastly, I'm sure you also know about two-factor or multi-factor authentication. We've already got customers that have enabled it and are using it. to do this. Simply, when a user logs in, they'll need to they'll no longer be emailed a verification code. Instead, they'll have to download an app on their mobile device, and they'll have to go to that Salesforce app, and then they'll get the verification code there. That verification code is good for like 30 seconds before a new code pops up, and you simply type it in to get the authentication. This is another layer of security. For a lot of reasons, companies are wanting to implement greater security. Some companies are concerned about, is this going to, mean I got to purchase a bunch of new licenses? And so there's some tools around that. And it's not, Google, I think, has something out there you can use, which still allows people to potentially share a license. But you can research it. But that's essentially what the multi-factor authentication is. I think they've enabled it. It's out there now. You can enable it in your organization. It's not enabled automatically yet. But the plan is for Salesforce to automatically enable it sometime in the near future. So they're giving you sort of this grace period for you to research it, get your company, sometimes there's other things to consider when you enable this functionality. So they're giving you some time to figure all that out before they actually force it, the enablement in a future release. So that's it for all the admin updates. Mike, anything else?
No, that was great. So for those of you, like I said, maybe on the techie side or on the business side, but that just want to know about some major things that are coming down the pipe, hopefully you found this useful. And if you have any other questions about any of these features that Zach talked about, don't hesitate to reach out to either of us. We'd be happy to answer those questions for you. Or if you just need looking for an administrator yourselves or developer and don't have one in-house and want some ongoing assistance, we'd be happy to help you with some of these changes as you move along in your business. So, but as always, Zach, thank you for your time. Everyone on the call, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your busy day to join us. And that is another edition of our CRM Snacktime Snippets with XTIVIA. Mike and Zach signing off. Thank you.
Thanks.